So as we're getting into the discussion of emergency entrepreneurship, they talk a lot about ephemeral organizing. What does ephemeral mean? Ephemeral means something that's kind of there sometimes and kind of not there other times. It's got something maybe with a fuzzy boundary. Those who've been watching my YouTube channel, you probably saw the thing about the ephemeral pond. The ephemeral pond is a body of water in New Mexico that when it floods, it fills up with water, it becomes a pond, and then it evaporates and the rest of the year it's not there. That's an ephemeral pond, and so you can see ephemeral organizing or temporary organizations, like organizations that exist when there's a hurricane but don't exist the rest of the time. And how did these come about? This is interesting. Looking at page 69, there's a quote. It says, regional actors have not been able to get organized. Not even once did they connect us to see if we were all right or if we had the resources needed to help the airport open. We managed to do it, but isn't it worth finding out? So the central government never called, hey, you guys just got hit by a hurricane. Are you okay? So these people were left out all by themselves. And they say something that's interesting. They say the initiative and strength come from individuals. They have the commitment and the wish to help one another. And personally, I have learned to understand life in the countryside. Since my staff lives there, we talked a lot about their situation, and I realized that we sometimes forget about that kind of life. So the emergency kind of helped draw them back to their roots. And then they say something else that's important. They say, I don't know how it started, but things just began to move. This is the ephemeral piece. First, it was a question of survival to reach the main road. We started to work 3 and 3. As we progressed, we began to gather more people. We never had a discussion of money or whether we should get involved or not. So the emergency almost became the boss, right? The emergency dictated to people that they organize and they contribute to the mission for their own ways and their own reasons. That's huge. Now, this is when we get into the table on page 73, where we start talking about emergency entrepreneurship. So the origin of the initiative is a rupture in everyday life. The emergency is the opportunity itself. There's no creation, there's no discovery. The opportunity is just forced on you. Okay? The process characteristics are immediate interaction. You got to do this or you're going to drown, you're going to starve, you're not going to be connected to the main road. It's obvious that you pretty much have two choices. You cooperate or you suffer or die, right? Then we talk about generic coping. Local interaction with the situation at hand. Everybody is geared towards alleviating that emergency. And the social capital is what they call social bricolage or spontaneous collective action. What is bricolage? Bricolage basically is a way of saying improvisation. So for example, maybe that's not a rock, but it's actually a hammer you've improvised. Social bricolage means you manipulate social interactions and social situations in a new way. So it's improvisation, but with social capital. So the social bricolage becomes a collective call to action. Hey, you're a cook for the elderly home? Hey, would you mind cooking for all the workers? Hey, you can't have the tanker there? Some farmer brings the tanker anyhow. This is that social bricolage. And the generic sources of social capital, local commitment and swift trust. In other words, when faced with an emergency, there is nothing that can bring people together than being in an emergency. And it doesn't even have to necessarily be like a Hurricane Gudrun type of emergency, right? I always laugh when I was in the Army. I had a boss who was just a total jerk. I had lots of bosses who were jerk, but there was this one in particular. And I could tell people, hey, you do this because I'm a captain and you got to do it. I guess they would do it, but they wouldn't really be working that hard at it, right? But I can say, hey, look, the boss is having an aneurysm in his office about this. Would you mind helping me so we can all go home early today? I can relate to that. So that's a mutual commitment and swift trust, right? You're not worried about me trying to kill you or stab you or lie to you or cheat to you because quite frankly, if we don't work together, the consequences are so severe that, we're going to wish that we worked together. So that's emergency entrepreneurship in action. Now, I didn't go through all the vignettes. I just highlighted them because I want you all to read this article. I think it's really interesting and worthwhile. Let me ask you this and post it in the comments. Have you ever experienced emergency entrepreneurship? Put it in the comments. Give me a story. Also, make sure you give me a thumbs up. That's a like if you like this video. And I'll see you in the next playlist. Thanks for watching.